Oh, so we got another one of these videos going viral from the account at Leftism for You of a young woman lamenting capitalism, saying it's created this world where nobody can do anything they enjoy. You know what? Everybody's ragging on this young woman, but she's not wrong. I mean, she's wrong about capitalism to a certain degree, but for the most part, I think she's actually right. Don't believe me? Let me play the video of what she says. We'll push back on some of her arguments, but let me give you my presentation about why I actually agree very much with her. Check this video out. Let's play it from this young woman, the Bug Fairy. I guess that's her name on TikTok.
All I can ever think about is the fact that this is not the way that life is supposed to be. The whole working your life away just to have a little bit of money, a little bit of free time to do things that you actually enjoy, it's such a waste of life. And the older generation will be the first to call my generation lazy for saying things like that, not realizing that they're just a bitch to capitalism and they're fucking brainwashed. I hate my stupid, racist, xenophobic fucking ancestors who set up this fucking system that sucks for everyone, except for like the 1%. This stupid capitalist society has made it to where no one can do things for themselves anymore because we've been brought up to depend on everything, fucking grocery stores, restaurants on every corner, a fucking convenience store on every fucking corner because we can't do anything for ourselves and we have no community. All we rely on is people who are getting paid shit and overworked their whole lives to get things that we need. That's not community. It's all nothing but a capitalist hellscape that sucks the life out of everyone. I just hate all of this. I hate my fucking ancestors. I hate everything that has happened throughout history to get...
The woods, they are calling, young miss. Please pack up your bags and go live in the wilderness. Well, I believe no one will come looking for you if you end up in the Yukon. Or maybe you don't want to go somewhere so harsh. The Mediterranean is also available, though that's been heavily civilized or developed. So I'm not sure you'll make it there. Tunisia, perhaps. Oh, maybe you don't want to go to Tunisia. You get my point? All right, let's break this down. Lady, you're actually right about so much. Mad respect. And I genuinely mean that. This is not community. We created this system, and our ancestors did as well, where a convenience store in every corner, a grocery store, nobody knows where their food comes from. Nobody knows how to make food. Nobody could survive on their own. This is not the way things are supposed to be. She's right. Please, however, miss, consider a few things. It's not capitalism. I mean, you can argue that sharing resources, investing resources is efficient in the rapid expansion and development of economics. But the idea of private-owned resources and industry, which is what capitalism is, isn't the culprit. Corruption and moral decay is. So here's where she's wrong. I don't hate my ancestors at all. They did tremendous things to make our lives better. But I do have some criticisms. They did not adequately instill hard work in their young people, which is why we are here today. So, yeah, I mean, look, let's be real. Our ancestors were racist and xenophobic, but that's a fact. Go back 200 years, this country had slavery, and then a war was fought partially to do away with it. I say partially because there's a lot of reasons for the Civil War. And slavery wasn't even abolished until a few years afterwards anyway. It's a misconception a lot of people have. They think the Civil War was solely fought to end slavery. It was about slavery. But I don't think Abraham Lincoln was fighting to end it, to be completely honest. He actually tried preserving it in some states, but ultimately it did get done away with. So I do take issue with a lot of my ancestors, but I can respect the good things that they've done. So let's talk about where we're at, young miss. Yo, I don't think you realize how hard life would be if you did not have the things you had. When you talk about working so hard, doing a job you hate for very little time of enjoyment, there's a lot of things to break down there. First, medical technology is nowhere near where it is today. You'd stub your toe and they'd cut your foot off. I don't think you want to live in that world, right? Okay, well then someone's got to work at a factory that makes antiseptics. What a crummy job. How is that enjoyable? Well, some people do enjoy their jobs. You see, the thing is, when people would grow up doing the job that their parents taught them, they enjoyed it. The reason why I enjoy doing the things that I do is because I grew up doing these things. Working on computers, reading the news, making video games. I was always doing this. I got a job in nonprofits, preaching about the problems of the world and how people should fix them. And here I am today, basically doing something very similar. The reason you're working jobs that you don't enjoy is because you did not grow up doing them. So take, for instance, someone who works at a Starbucks. If you take somebody who owns a cafe, I tell you this, man, start a cafe, have your kid work that cafe, have your kid do everything about that cafe. And when they're older, they will be an expert at managing businesses and they will enjoy it. They'll be so good at it. We develop enjoyment around the things we've always done. And in this country, we have kids do nothing. They play games and watch TV. So of course, when you're older, you just want to do the same thing. Me, I was working a job at a cafe when I was a kid. I was working and doing chores for my family. I was doing very much this. I was on a computer. I was reading news. I was reading things on the internet. I was programming video games. No joke. Flash animation. And here I am today doing very much what I've always done my entire life. It's not so much your ancestors building the system. It's that they did not instill in you proper values. Now let's slow down. Perhaps your individual upbringing has brought you to a place where you don't enjoy doing what you do. That's a sad reality for so many people. Where would you be if you decided to do what you really wanted to do? Would you have food? You wouldn't, because young people typically don't want to go till a field. So let's tear down the system that you lament so much and then say, go work on a farm. Me personally, I would very much enjoy working on a farm. You think I'm kidding? You think I don't know? No, I do get it. Now, I've always said this to myself. Throughout my life, I have said life is easy. I mean, there's a lot of things that are hard about it, but I always said, if it ever got to the point where working on a farm or living in the wilderness would be easier than what I'm doing here, I'd go do it. But living in civilization is easy. There's food, there's shelter, there's easy ways to come by these things relative to going into the wilderness and building it yourself. So I said, I'm just going to take the path of least resistance, do what I do and see where it takes me. For these people, for these young people, I tell you what, man, you put them on a farm and say, this is what life was like before your ancestors, and they will change their minds like that. I'll tell you, if you want to go work round the clock from planting season to harvest to be able to survive the winter, you ain't going to have any free time for anything you enjoy. Fair point, though. You will have community. You will have family. You will have people you love. I agree with all of that. The system that we have created has stripped the humanity and has become some mechanized monster. While I can certainly recognize the importance of specialty, that somebody works at a factory that makes lug nuts or whatever, it's the least fulfilling job, but boy, is that specialty job necessary. You know, you work at a factory that makes paper and you're like, my job sucks. I don't care about making paper. There's no honor. There's no integrity. There's no notoriety. But we need paper. We make stuff. You got to work at that cracker factory. It used to be that you made crackers. You were a baker. You made a bunch of things. And you were really good at it and you were the only one. And everyone said, man, this person sure can make great crackers and bread. Now you're a dude who pulls the lever at the cracker factory and no one cares. There's no dignity or respect for being the guy who pulls the lever at the cracker factory, but we like our crackers. Toasted sesame with some hummus. Perfect. Oh, we made crab dip the other day. No gluten for me. I'm doing corn tortillas. But you get the point. There used to be something in the skill you had, you were the best. But now that machines are taking over, no one cares that you're just another mindless cog in that machine. Something was lost. We do need to get back to that point where we have community. We know our neighbors. We work together. We know where our food comes from. She is right about that. Nobody knows how to survive. So why blame capitalism, though? Private enterprise helped people live better. However, the mistake made by our ancestors, which I think she's correct about, which I didn't really express this, but she is right, they did not instill survival skills in their children. To this day, the father and a mother will leave. And the meme, the stereotype is they come downstairs, they say, I made your bagged lunch, go to school, bye, and they leave their kids. And they don't see their kid until the end of the school day. That's not how this is supposed to be. And what's happening is now your kids are becoming wards of the state. No, your kids are supposed to watch you work and learn the skills you have. Instead, they get put in a box where the bell rings, an industrial learning facility. They never see their parents. They come home and they say, you're not cool. I don't respect you. I want to be around my peers. Kids are learning from each other and not from their parents. And that's a problem. You see, when I was growing up and I worked at my family's business, I was surrounded by adults and I learned from them. But the kids around me learned from each other because their parents weren't there. It didn't matter what the teacher was saying. Nobody cared. They would listen to each other, and they would create some weird amalgam of social childhood where their society was based on just being ignorant children instead of learning from their parents. There's a video showing children. It's back in the 40s or whatever, 50s. And these children sound like adults. Why? Because they were around adults, learning from adults. But kids today are around kids and learning from kids. So you know what? Here's my point. She's a bit inexperienced and needs to learn a bit more about the history of how these things came to be. But she is seeing something right. This is not the way it's supposed to be. This is not community. Nobody knows how to survive. She is right. I'm not mad at her. I think she just needs to learn more about this stuff and actually experience working on a farm and refine those ideas. And then she's probably going to be a smart individual. I mean, she is smart right now, but I'm saying she could be a thought leader. So here's what I recommend for this young woman. No joke, in full seriousness, go out to a farm and learn about where your food comes from. And maybe she does. Maybe that's her whole bit, is that she actually works in a garden, works on a farm. But my point is this. Get out there and see the real world, learn about community, refine those ideas. And I think for the people who live in cities who are mocking young people like this, you might need to do the same. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.